Okay, we're live. My name is ZANE, and here we have Guy. We have him in two screens at the minute, and the reason is because I want to give you a chance to observe the poster I put up on my side. Yes, that poster. Um, there is all himself. It's his book, and also in the picture you could see, yes, the book. And in the photo, I was thinking what kind of photo I could put on the poster to represent this person that I'm gonna introduce you today. And the one photo that came up um, was this one. And during this conversation, I hope you will feel and understand why this particular photo. And then, without any further ado, I will open my camera and we can start the conversation now. It's going to be an interesting one. That's the thing I can promise.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to be with ZANE. So I met ZANE about a month ago when I went to
Or
Ireland.
maybe. Yeah,
Sorry?
maybe a bit more.
Yeah, when I went to Ireland for my book tour. So I went to we met at the Dublin International Writers Festival.
Yes.
So, beautiful event. Met wonderful people organized by amazing people. There you go.
Irish Writers Union.
And I'm in Montreal, Canada. So I'm French Canadian, so you can detect a little French accent there, but totally bilingual.
Yeah. I would say even trilingual. And the third language might be the compassion language that you're speaking.
The universal language of love. That's so, thank you. Thank you, ZANE. I appreciate that.
I know you appreciate, and I know you're saying it out loud, but what I want to talk about at first is, as you started, like how we met. Um, I will tell our listeners a little bit about how we met. Um, I was late for the event. I had my ticket booked. I haven't had it printed, or I didn't have internet, I think, on my phone or whatever. I didn't have a ticket and arrive at the event where I thought I had to be. And I didn't really know how the organizers looked like. So I entered the hotel, and there's this person. I don't maybe you had your zero shoes on, or maybe you were barefoot, but I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is definitely the place that I have to be that evening, like for sure. But I asked you, are you the organizer? And you said, if you want me to be, I will be the organizer. That was fun. And also we had like a regular conversation that made me feel right away like at home.
Mm.
And those who know me, they will, like, I'm not easy to be open with humans. Like I'm not very open, but something clicked. Probably you asked the right questions from the very beginning, or maybe it was the speaker in the background. I don't know really. I just had missed your speech, by the way, which I feel kind of that's a bit of pity. But then I don't know, something was in the air that made me ask you many more questions, not only that evening, but the following morning as well, because the conference continued on the next morning. And the more we spoke, the more I thought, like, I have to speak to this person again. It's better sooner than later. And I have to ask him why he is the way he is and what's his history. And I know I haven't read all of the book. I've read only pieces of it, like some parts. Probably, if I could ask you, could you tell us just a little bit, or maybe a lot, what brought you here to the person that you are at the minute? Like, what brought you here? Like, few key things that happened. Why are you the way you are? And as you will speak, probably people will hear who you are.
Well, thank you, Zane. Thank you. I remember that when you came in, and I think you had blue hair, maybe, or blue makeup, or sparkles and stuff,
That was
and
blue lipstick.
blue lipstick. Thank you. There was something blue, which, like, again, it's like when I saw you, I said, "Whoa, this person is different. There's a different energy there." And yes, I just welcome you into my world, and you answered back right away. I mean, I always welcome people to my world, but then, people keep their distance, which is fine. But I'm saying, hey, I'm here if you want to play along. And right away, you kind of jumped in. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's fun. A new friend to play with. Anyway, so that's how the weekend progressed. So, wow. How did I, in a nutshell, yes, because there's so many directions this can go. I think each of us is unique. Um, each of us is put on this earth to do something special. And the challenge we face is to let our uniqueness come out. Um, we are filled with mass media, with communication, with the way our parents raise us, our society raises us, our cultures. Um, and then there's the experiences that happen in your own little private world, private life that has nothing to do with society or religion and stuff like that. And which is why a key element of my life is forgiveness. Um, Forgiveness is a way to separate everything that happened to you in your life with who you are as a unique person, as a unique being. Um, I like the example of the onion. In Quebec, where I live, Montreal, Canada, we have very strange winters. It can switch from 20 degrees from one day to the other one, from snow to rain. So one of the expression we have is we dress as in an onion. So instead of having one big duffel coat, you take, 2 or 3 sweaters, and this way you can undress corresponding to what's happening. Um, so each of us being unique, my process, how I came to be here today, November 22nd, 64 years old in this beautiful planet, um, is a process of undressing my education, undressing my culture, undressing, and I leave it at this point for now because I could just go on. So, of everything I've just thrown at you, where do you feel to pick up on?
I would gladly pick up from them, probably help, because those of you who will, after this conversation, they'll head to internet and search where they can find more about you or your life. I think that's one very interesting topic, how you approach health lately, and undressing, if you could put it together with like mental challenges and health and taking responsibility of yourself. If you could teach us a little what you have understood about your body and how it's connected with that.
Mm. Well, one thing is your body is your friend. And whatever happens to your body, it's there to keep charge of you, take care of you. It's doing the best with what you're giving it. So your body loves you like the universes love you. Um, in what I teach, when I work with people, I say there's 5 elements to health. You know, these are called the 5 dimensions of consciousness of being, but basically it's about being healthy in these 5 elements. So mental health, it doesn't mean about having psychological problems, but it's just about what is your system of beliefs. Is it healthy? What is a healthy system of belief? That's a question. Then I'm going to talk about emotional health. So what is emotional health? Are you always reacting to life? Or are you able to choose which emotion you're going to act on? Some of my friends, sometimes they say, oh, Guy, you're so quiet. What's happening with you? And it took me, and then I say, okay, well, it's because I'm very Zen. And then, I'm listening and I'm accepting whatever's happening around me. But then when I play, oh, I go crazy. I'm full of emotion. I'm full of joy. When I do the clowning for the children and the clowning for the adult and bringing love, bringing care, then I'm all over the place. Then one wouldn't say, well, Guy, you're not Zen anymore. What's wrong with you? Because then I'm full of joy and I'm full of happiness. So emotional health is when you choose which emotion you want to investigate, as opposed to reacting. And then there's the third element, so mental, emotional, and then the third element is physical health. Now, physical health is tricky because in our society, we don't put that forward. I've heard about IQ for the mind, about EQ for the emotional quotient of intelligence, but somehow I don't think the idea of BQ, not barbecue, but BQ, body quotient. What's your quotient? What's your awareness of your body? So these are about your sensations. We talk about the 5 sensations. So what happens when you eat? I did a 20-day fasting, water fasting, just water. And the big revelation.
Okay, say again, this is a big thing. This is not normal for many people. Could you just stop for 30 seconds and explain? You did a fast just on water.
Yeah, just water. And we can come back later on in the discussion about that. It would be my pleasure. How does one go into water fasting? But yes, basically 20 days, just water, just pure water. And the lesson I got from those 20 days, when I reintroduce food, is that most of the time, the intake of food is for emotional purposes more than nutritional purposes. Okay. I used to be vegan and then vegetarian and then full carnivore. And just to finish at this point, now I'm a nutrivore, which I don't know if that exists, but it's basically I look at what's in my plate and I say, how much nutrition does these things bring to me? Just very simply. So IQ, the mind, EQ, the emotional quotient, and then BQ. Okay, so your body health. For my 64th birthday, I decided to, get back into shape. So until I hit 65. So maybe in next November, when I hit 65, then I can do a good demonstration of bodily health. Anyway, so
I'm putting this in my calendar now. In a year, have another conversation.
It'd be my pleasure. And we can have one before. Say, how is it going, Guy? So emotional, mental, emotional health, physical health. Now, spiritual health. That's something we don't talk a lot about because I have nothing against organized religions, but often organized religion comes with their own baggage. Remember, you are a unique individual. So a religion might be like a signpost telling you, okay, let's try this direction, let's try this path. But your path is unique. So the spiritual health is about, do you feel you're worthy? Do you feel you have to fight for your right for existence? How do you value yourself? That's the spiritual health. And the fifth one, I would call the the universal health. How do you feel this, why are you here in this universe? What's your purpose? What's your reason? Some religion can call it reincarnation. I don't like names or branding. For me, these are just boxes with limits your imagination, but still we are alive. Life is amazing. Life is an amazing gift. And so why are we here? That's very simply. In summary, those 5 dimensions of health, the mind, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the universe, answer the big 5 questions. Very simply, it's like, what is happening in your life today? How do you feel about your life today? Where are you physically in your life today? Who are you? Who is Zane? Who is Guy? And finally, why? Why are we here? Why are you here? And I won't give you the answers, but it's a good way to start the conversation. So this is the chapter about your health question.
Very good. I will respond with having a sip from my coffee because I know I could do without coffee, but I don't want to at this stage of my life. Why I paid attention to the fasting thing is because at this stage of my life, I've met by accident quite a good few people who they do either water fasting or complete fasting. And I'd say the effect normally, let's say that you can see the person's doing something very interesting in their lives is about 3 days that they say no to food at all. And what I want to ask, like, was it just plain water? Was it spring water, or what kind of water was it?
For me, it's just plain water.
Plain water.
And the thing about fasting is it's a natural process, okay? And you don't jump into it like that. At least for me, preparation and doing things gradually is always the recipe for success. So what generally people don't know about fasting is that the body has innate mechanism to deal with different periods of fasting. So I understand people who stop at 3 days, and because of my experience, I say, oh, it's just too bad you stop at 3 days, because the 3rd day, that's the worst. And then the 4th day, and then it just gets easier and easier and easier. So when you start fasting, yes, you could say you suffer. You've got these pangs, you've got these new bodily sensations you've rarely felt before. So even that, you're kind of scared. It's like, oh my God, what's happening in my body? What are these feelings? What are these sensations? I feel an urgency for something. But these feelings do subside. After the 3rd and 4th day, your body, I don't know if you have a car, and those who have stick shifts, I live in America, so I only have like the pedal 1, 2, 1, 2. But I hear, people who have stick shift, and then when they shift, when it's not the time, it goes stuff like that. The body is the same. So when you fast, there's processes that evolve. So the first 3-4 days, your stomach will shut down. And once your stomach is shut down, you're so full of energy. So day 5 to 10, you actually don't want to eat anymore. You feel a bit of a ugh to the idea of eating. And then there's another step at the 9th day that happens. And then after the 9th day, you could go on for 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, depending. I could physically, how I am now with my body, 40 days is nothing. There wouldn't be a problem for that. Does that answer your question? Tell me about more.
It does, but it gives me more questions.
Please, it's my pleasure. I'm here for that.
Thank you. Do you have friends who do a similar thing? Or is just your idea, or you read it somewhere, or how did you come to the idea that you need the fast? Who planted it in you?
Exactly. Fasting was my gift to myself when I was 50 years old. People get New Year's resolutions, for example. This never works for me. But birthdays, for me, are landmarks. So at 64, a few weeks ago, I decided I'm going to get back in shape. Really, that's it. At 60, it was a coincidence, but there was the lockdowns happening. And I got so mad, so fed up that I just, like Forrest Gump, I went outside and I started running. I never ran in my life. I don't really particularly like running or jogging. But I discovered something in myself. And then I started to run. I got hot. The first winter, I was totally with my jacket. But now I run like 20 Ks barefoot. And in the winter, I run in shorts with no hat, no gloves. And, so it's the same as with fasting. Did somebody tell me to do this? No. Did I have friends who did this? No, neither also. So same thing with the clowning. It's just like each of us is unique. So there's something in me about not so much limits, but having to say, how can we be more? Am I really living my true self? Am I really living my true life? And we can get into that later about why I wrote the book, because it's about the story of abuse, that I was abused as a child. And this may have something to do also with my personality of pushing beyond limits.
I would really love for you to go as deep as you wish to go in what happened to you in your childhood. But before that, if we could touch the positive outcome, and you could tell us why are you all over the world?
Well,
What brings you to many people?
Thank you. That's such a beautiful comment. Yeah, the positive outcome. Well, I didn't know that love existed. I discovered that love existed at age 45, at age 55. When I was clowning for the first time with Patch Adams in Guatemala. So how can one live a whole life and only at 55 years old discover that love does exist? That's something. Change, daring. We all know the experience of you say you step into a car and you go somewhere and then you've forgotten how you got there because in your mind you were thinking, so much. So we have an automatic pilot built in us. And the automatic pilot is very good because when there was a tiger in the ancient times, or a danger, there was no time to think, oh, tiger, I must react. I must save myself. No, it's like,
You
you
would
get
think you
your
would be dead. Yeah.
you get your hair standing up,
Yeah.
your spidey sense, and then you just run away. And same thing about picking food that's good or not for you. Your body really loves you. So because of the what happened in my childhood, I was so cut off from my emotions that I was basically living everybody else's life except my own life. The Russian dolls, a doll within a doll within a doll and a doll. So all these dolls were protective walls for me, from memories, from childhood experiences. And when I went at age 55 to my first humanitarian clown trip, I was so scared. Being scary is a good thing. I find that being scary means that you're going to learn something about yourself. So it's a good thing. And from those experiences, my heart opened up. And the more my heart opened up, the more light came out of it, and the more I was able to see the love that was around me. And so today, yes, I was put on this earth to be a messenger of love, and each day it's like a joy to be alive. I always have noses with me in my pocket, so I can give to people whenever it happens on the street. No ceremony, just for the fun of it.
I can testify that it did really happen in Dublin many, many times.
Yeah, so life is a gift. Life is an amazing gift, and which is why I wrote the book. The book is my life story, but it's the idea of whatever challenges you might have faced in your young youth, in your relationship. Be it, I was overweight. I have going to diabetes. How do you say when you stop breathing at night?
Apnea.
Yeah, I got apnea. So many stories, but today, no, today is I'm only here on this earth to give love, to bring healing, because my dream is very simple, is that if each one of us would embrace their uniqueness, we'd live in a world of peace, of abundance. There wouldn't be no war, the pain. There's a big difference between pain and suffering. We need pain. Pain is the red light in your car flashing. It's like, ooh, 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 something's wrong. Here, I'm sending you pain so that you adjust your course, do something. But suffering, there would be no need for suffering. There's enough food on this planet for everyone. The problem is with the sharing. The problem is with the fear. There's so much fear.
If we quote John Lennon, that you sound like a dreamer.
Yes. Oh, and that's again, I love language because we've been taught. It's like George Orwell, 1984. Some words have been taken out of our language. There we go. Some words have become taboo. It took me years to be able to speak about my spirituality. It took me years to talk about love. And the thing I lost very young, because of what happened was the power to dream. And I've been scared and scared and scared of dreaming. Today, speaking to you, I'm at this point when I say, no, everybody stop, and I think maybe it's John Lennon or somebody else who said that, God make plano, God undoes the plans or whatever, you make plans and then
You make the plan, you kind of observe or execute the plan, and you throw away the plan.
yeah, exactly. So but life is just amazing. Life is a gift. There you go.
Yeah, this is the thing that you just said that I thought, like, why I most definitely need to talk to you at some stage, because this is the one thing that you reminded me. I had a pretty hard 2 weeks, like pretty rough time at when I went to the conference. And in an instant, like, you reminded me something that I've known, like I've known. I've always been this kind of um, weirdly optimistic person who doesn't believe in evil people. Like, I
Hmm.
don't believe that anyone is evil, like, in their core. We could do silly stuff and we could do terrible things to other people or to the planet or animals or surroundings in general, but to the core, I don't believe there is a single gram of evil in any of the people in this world. So knowing that, what I feel about people, if we could touch a little bit some of your biography, the facts that did happen, and they did happen, and you could probably, if you want, you could tell what happened
Mm-hmm.
and how you felt then and what you feel about it now. And like, I'll let you
Mm-hmm.
tell whatever you wish to tell. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, the first thing that comes to mind when you're telling me is one expression that I like, is that only hurt people hurt people. So I agree with you. We're not born to hurt people. Life events happen, and then we seek resolution. But when we are on a automatic drive, like I've spoken about this automatic drive, like as human beings, we have an automatic, like you don't beat your heart, you don't breathe yourself, you don't digest your food. I mean, when you cut yourself, for me, that's the biggest revelation. It's so simple, but we never look at it. If you cut yourself, you just heal. So we don't heal ourselves. There's a system in place of healing. And the system of place is also the same thing with our storytelling, the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we have. So whatever trauma has happened in your life, your body will protect you, your body will take care of you, and your body will bring you healing. The environment in which you are will bring the biggest difference. Finding a loving person who's there for you, to listen to you, you won't be thinking to abuse them. You won't be to use them for your story. So then it's like somebody is there to listen to you. So my story, very, very simply. So when I was young, I was sexually abused as a child at 3 years old by a woman, at 8 years old by a group of men, and other circumstances. And this is all in the book. Very simple said. The book is written like a detective story. So I won't tell you all the big bits because, something very important is that what I'm telling you about now is that all of these abuses became unconscious. Basically, I never remembered. So I lived on automatic pilot. in my youth, how did I feel? How did I feel about going that? Basically, I was suicidal all the time, but I didn't know it because that was the only way I could, that was life. I was never not suicidal, so I didn't know I was suicidal all the time. I was scared all the time. I could only sleep with the light on. I could only sleep with the radio on, because and I could only sleep if I was totally exhausted. So I couldn't go say, oh, I'm going to go to bed now. It's 10 o'clock and I have a
For how
big.
many years it went on like that? How did you survive? Like,
Yeah, I love that word. How did I survive like that? Um, like okay, when I was 8 or 9 years old, there was the first man walking on the moon. And I remember seeing that on an old plastic black and white TV. And I was fascinated, like, getting down the stairs and walking on the moon. That was amazing. But I remember also that I asked my mom then, I say, how come we're sending people to the moon when half the world is starving? And so there was a seed of my uniqueness inside of me. And as I grew up, when I saw about apartheid, I was shocked that this concept in South Africa was happening. And Nelson Mandela being in jail, and I made myself a little sticker about that. And then there was the big Live Aid concern. And I was reading up about Gandhi. So there was something inside of me. Also, how did I survive? I worked. I work. At 9 years old, I started to mow the neighbors' lawns, distribute newspaper. So I was busy. I didn't have any identity. My aim in life was to be invisible, odorless, having no dream, no want. So as long as I was busy, so I did become a kind of workaholic. So I always had a summer job. And as a teen, then I started smoking. And smoking, sadly to say, was a big revelation. Because, of course, when I first smoked just cigarettes, I coughed like crazy. It was totally painful. But then, for the first time in my life, there was a peace in my head. My feelings became numb. That was like, it works. It works. So I started smoking. And then I did try pot, however you call it, marijuana, that stuff. And very lucky for me, it made me sick. Like, as soon as I was a bit stoned, I threw up, like really for hours and hours and hours. So I'm very blessed for that, because I'm sure I would be dead by now if alcohol or drugs would work for me. My body just totally refuses that. So how did I survive? I survived with music, listening to music all the time. I started keeping a journal. So my journal was my friend. How did I survive? So music, smoking, sadly to say, smoking helped. Journaling, music, being busy, being a workaholic. I became an artist, so a visual artist. Because in my youth, I read a lot of comic books. So how did I survive? TV. Gilligan's Island, I was Gilligan. My favorite Martian. All these sitcoms, Happy Days. Happy Days with Fonzie. Fonzie was my protective brother. I mean, in my own family, it was not the same. There were I had very violent brothers, and the situation at home was very difficult. But I had my TV family, so I would escape in fantasy. Uh, Comic books. I was an avid comic book collector, perfectionist. So, how, what are you hearing? I'm curious about that, Suzanne. So, how did I survive? What did I use to survive?
What I'm hearing, good, because we are practicing active listening skills at the minute. What I hear is that you try to hide yourself in some places, and you were not comfortable in the place you were physically, so you seeked some other options. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Is
yeah. So,
correct?
no, I like how you simplify it. Thank you. Because for me, it was like, okay, journaling and smoking and activity and comic. It's like, oh, it's so many different things. But I was just not happy where I was. I needed to be somewhere else. Well, I was not happy. I was in so much pain being myself. Um, so I became an artist, so painting, sculpture, drawing. Um, and then in 84 was my first trip in Europe, 1984, for 3 months, visiting museums, looking for an art school. And
Oh,
after three,
of Europe, is it? Because Europe is very different. Like there
thank
are
you.
many different
Yeah, yeah,
countries.
no. So basically, I went to England, I went to France, and in Italy to Greece. Thank you. Yeah, so those little kernel. Um, and then after three, and then okay, having no body, like I didn't like myself. I didn't spend money on myself also because I say, I'm worthless. There's no point spending money on me. So, uh, I would always eat in the park, go to the market, buy things. I sleep in trains once in a while instead of youth hostel. And youth hostel, I would be scared of other people, but that was the cheapest option. Um, so. But there, for the first time, it's like I felt free, away from my family, away from my education, away from my environment. And I was even offered to teach a ceramic class in Firenze, in Florence of all places. I said, oh man, that was my dream come true. Um, but I was too scared. I was too insecure, even if they were offering me a place to stay the whole bit. So I said, "Oh, I can't because of my plane ticket." But then I made a promise to myself. Okay, this time I can't stay because I'm too scared, but I will go back to Europe. And it took 3 years, and then I started a master's in Amsterdam at the Rijksacademie van Beelden en Kunsten, which is the State School of Fine Arts. And then my life opened up. When I was there, of course, I was scared. I was living in hiding in my studio, again, feeling worthless. But then the first memories, I was so far away from my family, from my education. I had a love relationship that ended really, really badly. And I really thought, that's it. I'm going to kill myself now because there's no point in living. And my body, I was sitting at a party out of my body. I was there, but I wasn't speaking. I was just kind of smoking and drinking and smoking and drinking. And then suddenly I turned to my neighbor and I just told him, if I had a gun, I would kill myself. And he was shocked. It's like, but Guy, you're such a nice guy. You're such a happy, smiling guy. And then they started to listen to me. And then I discovered that you could have friends, friends who could listen to you, who could be there for you. And that was an awakening for me. That was like the first emotional awakening for me.
What age is this? No, what age we are speaking about?
Around 30, 30, 32, 33. Let's say 30 in general. And having suddenly, and then while I was in Amsterdam, I did an exhibition of my paintings. I sold a few paintings, which was great. I was seeing somebody there, not a serious relationship, because I couldn't handle any serious relationship, but I had a steady friend, a steady lover, you could say it like that. And I found my first ever apartment. So I had actually a rent I could pay. So my life was going so well. So I went to a yoga class, and in the relaxation period of that yoga class, because my life was going so perfect, so good, the first memories of abuse happened, came back. Of course, I was shocked at that point. What's this? What does this mean? And it got me into curious, and I started to read books, and I couldn't find a book for abuse, for a man who has been abused. And I always said to myself, that's too bad, and that I will write this book. And basically it took years, but that's why I wrote the book, the courage to love, the courage to love yourself, basically. And let's stop at this point, because I've said so many things. So first memories came back, and that set me on a path of healing. We can speak maybe after about what I use for healing and what I've learned, but I'll stop at this point.
Those who know me will know that when I work with people as a doula or a listening ear, or is that a profession even? I don't know. But, some people are listening ears, and that's about it. I could say that what I've observed actually is what you just said. It happens to so many people when you're finally relaxed and you feel safe and you feel like you're finally kind of getting a hold of your life. Finally, at least some pieces of the puzzle kind of start to make sense for you. People tend to crush there because of some things that they manage somehow to escape from. And I see it very often, and it's very interesting how you describe what you experienced in your life, like it, and the years and years and years of not being able to feel. For some people, like if we speak about like postnatal depression, and like it takes normally a few months, let's say like 6 months for a person to kind of exclude the emotion, but then again, when they finally feel safe after the fact they give birth, they draw their conclusions. I'm safe, like in like logical mind. Then the emotional background comes, and they put it all together, and they're ready to feel the emotion. For you, it took years and years and years. Of course, it's a different situation, but if you could explain, like, how does it feel when you have your memories, like when they start to come back, like maybe not come back, but like first time they appear, how what like how it looks like from outside?
Okay. Very, very, very interesting question. How does it look like from outside? Well, so to be very specific how it came back, because maybe that's going to help. So a friend had invited me to a yoga lesson, which I never did before. So I did all the, these things and like that, and so much painful, but really like quite a challenge. So after an hour, it was like, just lay down and do the rest. And while I was there in that moment of bliss, suddenly images started to came back of a big face, just above me, and a big mouth. And I saw what I felt were my arms and leg, which were like little pudgy, and they were like fighting back. And suddenly there was a big clap, like somebody got hit. There was a scream, and then I was put away alone, and I rolled up into a ball, and I cried. And I felt that I had destroyed the world, that I was the destroyer, and that from now on, I will never let myself go. I will never trust. I will never, because at any moment, I can destroy my life. I can destroy everything, the universe. I will lose everything.
So let me like
yeah.
It has to be understood correctly. Like you're the destroyer, not
Yeah.
the person. You're the one to be blamed. Something. Okay.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point, because all these, I mean, mentally I can discuss it now, but because all these feelings and emotions are stemming from your senses, from inside your body. So like they say, I don't know much about babies, but when a baby first doesn't know the difference between the breast of the mother and himself, or there's no sense of separation. The baby is the universe. And the first, I wouldn't say trauma, but the first experience of separation is to learn as a baby, that I'm me, but actually there's something out there that is not me. So I guess it's at that level that when I've got all these feelings, like let's put it like in a candle, in a flame. Where does the flame come from? It comes from inside the candle, you could say, magically speaking. It's not outside a light shining on the flame. The flame is from the inside. So at that young age, and again, having experiences of abuse at different ages will have their stages of development. But that was very young when I was 3 years old, and then when I was 8 years old, and then a group of man. So different stages will bring me different. I think later, when the other abuse I got when I was 8 years old, stuff brought me more the feeling of being worthless, of being nothing. Okay. That emotion of being worthless and nothing, I don't think at 3 years old I had that. But at 3 years old, the emotions I had was to say, I destroyed the world. I am the world. I am everything. There's no concept of being worthy of something, of having needs or demand. It's like, so how does it look from the outside? I don't think, when I lived that, I couldn't share it. Let's start it this way. So I couldn't tell it to my friends, or I wrote it in my journal, and that part of it's actually in the book. So I've been journaling. So I started journaling like in my teenage years, and I'm still, journaling to this day. This is maybe my 200th journal, and I could read you the entry for this morning. Is it in English? No, but I can translate it. But actually, it's this would be nice to read because it relates to talking to you.
The funny thing is, when I work with people, even if I teach Latvian as well for kids, and sometimes adults as well, you know what? One first thing I normally tell them, please make a journal and write at least few sentences in the morning, every morning, once you wake up and you're just saying, like, this is truly, it's not only for like, handwriting purposes, having a beautiful uh, written text in front of you. It's also about processing stuff. So yeah, continue
Yeah.
on.
Oh, and I like what you say about processing. It's like dreaming. The people, there's a lots of theory. What are dreams and this and that, and why do they exist? And are we actually? I am the dream, and my dream is reality. I mean, we can play so much with this idea, but dream is about processing. So they say about what happened in their life. So um, today, I call myself consciousness awakener. It took me a while to say what brand, what box, and I put myself in that makes sense. Un éveilleur de conscience, a consciousness awakener. Journaling is one way to greet yourself, greet your unique self. Um, so that yoga memory, I wrote it like a few hours later in my journal, and that is in my book. So in the book, it's the idea of to recreate these moments as they are. So that basically I'm taking you by the hand. I'm trying not to scare you along my journey, but to accompany you. And of course, I'm always there on YouTube. Here I am today, and with my website to help people. So I didn't write about it. No, I didn't tell my friends about it because it was too like, what is this a memory? Is this real or not? Eventually, I was able to confirm that it did happen. So, and that I felt blessed for, because many
You have like
problems.
facts, some other people you were able to confirm, like in
Yeah,
a physical world, that it's not your imagination.
exactly, exactly. And because when so that stayed in the back of my mind. So the idea of was I ever abused? Is that a real thing? What's that? I never knew that word before, abuse, sexually abuse. What's this? So I went to the bookstore and I got a first book, The Courage to Heal. And each page was describing my life. It was like, wow, solitude, loneliness, self-hatred, bad feeling about sexuality, shame, just put it on all there. And, we could speak for hours on each of these feelings. But one thing that really came out was the fact that the environment in which the abuse happened, if the abuse happened in that environment, is that it wasn't a healthy environment. Let's put it this way. So for you to become aware of something that happened in your youth, and you bring that to the environment in which you were born, you were raised, they will deny it. They will destroy you. They will push it away. It goes hand in hand. You were abused in that environment because that was an environment that were good, how could I say, propice, that's French, sorry, to bring abuse about. So that environment will not accept your revelations.
So in one way, you're kind of lucky that you had all the facts that you could kind of manipulate now, that you could
that it was concrete. Yeah,
yeah.
no, for me, it's like I'm sure I would still have went on a journey of healing, of discovery, because I've always loved research. I love books. I love reading. So I've got a whole list of books. Man's Search for Meaning is an excellent book. Paul Václavic, there's a whole school of thought. Even so I did exhibitions in the 1990s, And that's when I did my first public talk. So I've been doing public talks for the last 30 years now. And some of my first public talks were about interaction theories. So I'm not a psychologue, I'm not a researcher, but I had done so much work that now I was able to simplify the whole idea of interactions, the theory of interaction. So in a nutshell, because I'm giving you so much information here, it's just that the usual way to see a person with mental problems, let's say, or mental difficulty or social difficulty, is to say this person has a problem. So I will give pills to this person, or this person will have to go to a therapy because inside himself he's broken, he has a problem, stuff like that. And interaction or systems theory sees it otherwise. It basically says that that person with this weird behavior, he's doing the best behavior possible in the environment that he is. So basically, he doesn't have mental issues. He's actually very intelligent because he's found out the best possible solution in an environment that is unhealthy environment. So instead of looking at a person to say, you have a problem, we're going to look at a person to say, oh, tell me about your environment. Who was around you? What was your, not so much your upbringing, but who were the people around you? How did they see you? How did they treat you? Did they listen to you? Were you valued by your family, by your friends? Were you listened to, or were you judged and just put into boxes and corners? So
This is a very valid point, and I promised it's going to be an hour for you, so we will wrap up soon, but
well, we can do a part 2.
we can do a part two another day because you know we have things planned for today, and I promised we're not all evening, but it's very, very important what you just said, because I think many people, especially last few years, they feel they're the ones to be blamed for whatever, whatever circumstances they're in at the minute. But we have to look at the bigger picture as well. And we, like, as much as we wouldn't like to, of course, we can always find reasons and excuses, for some people to behave the way they behave. But then I would say, certain hierarchy that the older people normally take care of the younger ones. And that would be only healthy way how to approach like society, like if we speak about society. And in some cases, of course, the younger generation, they kind of step up and they heal the elders. But hearing from you, what you just said, it seems that you were always looking at yourself as an issue or as a problem, but looking at yourself that way, you can't find resources, you can't attract resources, you can't attract the strength to deal with whatever is going on. So you were not able to see the solution in yourself, and you were not able to heal anyone. Even I believe you always wanted, like it was always in you. Like the personality I see here, it's like you were always looking for ways to support people. But when you didn't have the resources yourself, don't talk about extra strength to support others. And saying this, I would like to ask you for in Latvian it's said ceļamaize. That's the bread that you, when someone leaves, you give like a piece of bread for that person. You got the idea, yeah?
Mhm.
You kind of piece of wisdom from like whatever comes out now, it's gonna be good enough. But like I will appreciate whatever comes out now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it's a big
Well,
sorry, but like not the
I'm
message, but yeah,
I'm going to say you are amazing. You are unique. You're a beautiful individual, and you're here on this earth to do something special. And that something special is you being yourself. Nothing more than that. Um, I'd love to teach you how to do that, because that's why I'm on this earth for. So go to my website, send me messages, reach out to me. The 5 level of health. It is possible. It is amazing. Life is an amazing gift. Whatever abuse, whatever you went through, mental, emotional, the head, the heart, the body, the spirit, and the universe. It's all there for you. You have a calling. From your calling, you'll figure out who you are, the service, the passion, and the dream. Like I say in my YouTube videos, when I run outside, anything you can dream of, anything you can wish for, you can realize. I believe in you. I love you.
and from my side, I will just add that I have a voice and don't be afraid of it. So with that said, I'm so grateful for having this conversation with you, and I hope you have amazing day ahead of you and many beautiful people
And
approaching you today.
thank you for the invitation. I mean, it's a blessing to be able to share the message, and I believe in you, what you do, your mission. It's beautiful. I believe in all the viewers who are here. Please share this video, send this message of love. There's no taboo. There's so many quiet about speaking about abuse, but you can heal and you can have an amazing life. So thank you, Zane. And let's do this again.